Today we're going to be diving into a new dimension of sound with SkyDust 3D from Sound Particles. This isn't your standard synthesizer, but the next step in synthesized music creation led by the dedicated Sound Particles team. This is the world's first ever spatial synthesizer plugin. Whether you're a professional sound designer or just passionate about music, I think you're going to love the level of control that SkyDust 3D provides. And even if you're not familiar with Sound Particles, you've definitely heard their products in action in different films and TV shows like Dune, Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Westworld, and more. Thank you to Tony and the whole team for sending over a copy of SkyDust 3D. After getting the chance to chat about this plugin, their other products, and just the vision of the company, I am very excited for the future of sound design in music. The SkyDust plugin isn't just fantastic in stereo, but truly transformative in 3D. And you have the option of picking up SkyDust in either stereo for $199 or 3D for $399. The biggest difference is that the stereo version is going to offer both a stereo and binaural output, while 3D takes full advantage of all outputs, including quad, 5.1, 7.1, 9.1, and a ton more. Personally, in my home studio, I'm always working with my headphones or my stereo speakers, so that built-in binaural engine lets you experience that 3D sound without the need for a higher-end studio setup. And what truly stands out about SkyDust is its adaptability. Let's say you've been working with the binaural output, but then you find yourself in a 7.1 studio. That is not a problem at all. Once you're all hooked up and ready, you could easily change your output from binaural or stereo to any of these other setups. And it's all from within the plugin. You are not changing the essence of your sound. This total control makes this an incredible tool regardless of your studio setup. You could stick to the massive range of presets that they have for just quick and easy work. They have a randomize option up here, so you can just randomize your presets to create something that is totally unique to you. Or you could even try these sub presets to experiment with an even more detailed sound. And these sub presets actually give you access to these other tabs without you ever having to leave this main page. So let's just take a listen to see what comes out of the box. And I do recommend you put on some headphones so that you can really hear that 3D design. So this is the broken harpsichord. Or even the ethereal keys. Maybe forest pad. And if you take a look at the visual, you'll actually be able to see just where the sound is moving, and you can really hear it in your headphones. LFO. And then when you release, you can see everything move back. And that's something that we'll get into, but I just want to show off what else they have. There's so many to choose from. What about Japan's sequence? It's a very mono sound, and you can tell because it's directly front and center. They have this Ghost Bells arpeggiator. Let's see. And so, you know what? Let's actually try the randomize option and see what it creates. Oh, that is crazy. Okay, let's do it again. Let's try something else. Oh, that is insane. Oh man, you can have so much fun just with that alone. Oh, that is so good. So let's actually go back to a preset like Dark Drama, and maybe let's turn on some of these sub presets. So, you know what, actually, let's just stick with Spatial, and let's go for maybe Chaos. And maybe Glitch. So a lot of it is geared towards the back left side. Let's actually try maybe Retro Twist and play with these sub presets. Oh, actually first, this is what it sounds like alone. With Spatial turned on to rotations. All right, so much more of a randomized sound, I think. And pitch could be rise and fall. And let's do the arpeggiator, sequence 17. Wow. All right. This is so cool. I am absolutely loving this. And again, we are just on this main page. We have really not left anywhere. We haven't gone into any of these other tabs. So much can be done just from this front page alone. Now, if you're not sure where to even begin when it comes to film composing with a synth or even an orchestra, then I want to share with you my free film composer recipe book. It goes over the basics of writing for different genres of film and television by breaking down the 4 key ingredients of music: melody, harmony, rhythm, and orchestration. This is a great resource for any composer who needs an overview of action or horror or fantasy, and it's absolutely free. So if you are interested, I left a link in the description down below. Now, SkyDust 3D is such a fantastic tool when it comes to that spatial sound design. Its innovative 3D engine, spatial sequencer, envelope generators, and LFOs let you manipulate sound in ways you've probably never done before. And each oscillator can have its own individual spatial settings for more intricate 3D soundscapes. And of course, you can go back to summary to get that overview of all of your oscillators. Just the ability to adjust the waveform and the EGs and LFOs really gives you so much creative control. Basically, you can get up to 8 oscillators or sound particles per voice, and this can help you craft complex sounds with either FM, subtractive, or a hybrid approach. So let's say you play 4 voices at once. If you look at that visual spatial design, you could see up to 32 particles bounce around your space. And then if you were to play even 10 voices, you could see up to 80 particles. And this spatial tab is probably one of the top features of SkyDust 3D. This is where you can personally shape the movement of each particle. You can determine the starting location, you can adjust the general space that it takes up, you could specify how you want the particle to move, and where you want it to end up. I think SkyDust 3D also takes into account the finer aspects of sound design, and you'll find that throughout the entire plugin, you'll be able to adjust settings like the filter and pitch, both globally and per oscillator. And this is gonna mean that you have so much control over every single little detail if you want it. If not, Sound Particle gives you those sub presets for each individual tab. So right now we're under the filter, which has a list of presets. The pitch also comes with its own set of presets. And I absolutely love the FM tab for frequency modulation. And per oscillator, you'll be able to route the different outputs for each sound particle. So right now for this pad preset that we have set, Everything is coming out of all 8 oscillators. But let's just pick one of those presets. Let's go for number 18. And the way this works is right now, there's only one output for this one oscillator, but it looks like number 2 is being routed over to number 1. Number 3 is also being routed to number 1. Number 4 is being routed to number 3, which then is routed to number 1. Number 6 is routed to number 5, which is also routed to number 1. And we can easily see that grid visual as a connected view over here. Let's try something else, maybe like number 5. So this is a bit simpler to look at, I think. We have outputs in 1, 3, and 5 of the oscillators. Number 2 is being out to number 1. Number 4 is going to be routed to number 3. And number 6 is going to be routed to number 5. So if we go over to this mixer tab right here, we'll see that only 1, 3, and 5 are being used. But let's say that we want number 6 just to be routed on its own. We can see that now oscillator number 6 let's say we want number 8 to be routed to number 7, and we want number 7 definitely to be out. This is something that you can really start playing around with, see what sounds cool, solo out different oscillators, but of course you can always stick with whatever they give you. We also have control over the arpeggiator as well as a sequencer. We have different effects from distortion, delay, reverb. There's some extra design controls from EG and LFOs, but this matrix tab can offer so much flexibility where one parameter can affect any other. You have the ability to sort by the source or by destination, and you can choose which one you want to be your source or destination. So you can choose from any of these macros, your LFOs, your EGs, or your MIDI controls. And then you can choose where you want your destination to be. If we look at the one that comes with this preset, the source is the mod wheel, and it's affecting our macro A. And over on the right, we also have a curve editor to help us determine how much or how little we want to influence that parameter. Then I touched on this briefly, but at the very bottom, we have some basic controls that we always have access to no matter which tab we're in SkyDust 3D. Again, this is the mixer where we can see the oscillators in independent views. Our keys give us an overview of our actual MIDI keyboard. We can also adjust the spatial, pitch, and arpeggiator here, along with a legato. Let's turn that on. And then we also have this macro view where you can add in different parameters per macro. So we have A, B, C, and D. Then we also have this X and Y pad where you can assign your Y axis to be maybe your FM or pitch or something. You could say your X axis is also one of your macros. And then as you change your X and Y pad, you can adjust both parameters at once. So over on the right of the main page, we've seen this kind of spatial view where we get where the particles are bouncing around. But in addition to that, we also have additional spatial views. So this first one here is 360, so you have to think of it almost like a map. We have the rear view, so basically it's like we are looking at a room in front of us. Then we also have top view, and this is going to be kind of that bird's eye top-down angle. And then we have this sphere view, which is actually going to be very similar to the hybrid, where the center is just above you, and you can actually see everything moving around you. Again, I just want to give a huge shout out to the team at Sound Particles. They don't just create sound design products, but they actually care about the development of current and potential musicians and sound designers. And I actually found out that both students and educators can get the flagship Sound Particles plugin for free. In my conversation with the team, they just have such an enthusiasm and a clear vision for the future of sound design, and that truly resonated with me personally. I'm super excited to use this SkyDust plugin to help me integrate sound design techniques into my own orchestral music. And don't forget to check out that free composer reference guide to get you writing today. So I'll see you over in the next video, and as always, happy composing.